album, take a look around up till today, whether it's Slaughterhouse or Disposable Arts, or really, I'd argue most of your albums and most of your commentary is like, this is what's happening in the one sense, but really, this is actually what's really happening. And I thought PPE did a good job of explaining that. But how and why do you think that's been such a recurring theme in your music?
I think it's because my childhood, I think my childhood to a certain, not so much my childhood, my neighborhood, the neighborhood I was raised in, it kind of still haunts me to this day because I always think one or two things go differently. I might still be living in that building, in that apartment where my grandmother, you know, spent her last hours. We rush her to the hospital. She passes away. I could literally still be getting on the elevator, working some shithole job, and coming home from work every day, getting on the elevator, going upstairs, making something, making a TV dinner or some shit, going to the incinerator to throw the trash out, you know, and sitting in that apartment. Like it just is constantly in the back of my head, like how I acknowledge how blessed and fortunate that I've been that I was able to escape, if that's the right word, those conditions, because so many don't get to escape those conditions and they are forced to stay in those conditions because of certain circumstances in their lives. So the reason these themes keep coming up is because they're still floating around in the back of my mind. I'm not in that environment anymore. I don't find myself in that environment anymore, but it kind of haunts me a little bit. So, but it's good that it haunts me because it makes me acknowledge the blessing that I have, and it makes me acknowledge how fortunate that I am and appreciative that I am for the life that I do have. So it also gives me an opportunity to acknowledge those folks that may still be in those conditions, that you're not forgotten, because everybody's rapping about being rich and paid and having the bag and the cars they driving and the watches they wearing and all of this, and they're rapping about all of this money, and nobody raps for the people that don't have. There's almost no artist out there speaking for those conditions. Like, listen, we know what you're going through. We understand. You know, as a rap fan, if you turn on the radio, you would think everybody's rich. You know, if that's all you listen to, you would think everybody's rich. Everybody's paid. Everybody having all the sex in the world that they can have, as many people as they want. It's just the wildest lifestyle. But there's a real world out there too, and so I guess I'm rapping for the people that live in the real world.
Hmm, makes sense. And part of that, I think, is a testament and an evolution to you as a person and as an artist because with Richmond Hill too, you have the plant-based song, and I know personally some of the reasons that you've evolved your diet in particular over the years, and it made me think of like Ham and Eggs by Tribe Called Quest back in the day, or Dead Prez has done stuff about eating veggies and eating healthy. So, what at this point on Richmond Hill made you want to do the plant-based song?
That was another early song. That song initially came about because there was a uh, there was a restaurant in Berlin, Germany. They were trying to put together a compilation album, and with not just rap, but just a bunch of different genres. But it's a restaurant that we have frequented a few times, and they knew we were artists, and so they were asking different artists that have come by the restaurant if they would do a song for their compilation, and they wanted the songs to kind of all be somewhat, food related in some way, like so it would make sense, this whole theme. So I thought, oh, dope idea. Let me come up with something, and so I had the idea to do a plant based song, but I hadn't had written any lyrics yet, and so this was the perfect opportunity to write that song. So I wrote it for that compilation. The restaurant isn't a plant based restaurant. It's they serve everything, but that was going to be my contribution to the compilation. I was going to talk about the plant based lifestyle of eating. Um, I don't know what happened with the compilation. I don't think it ever happened. Actually, I think the restaurant closed and it didn't go down. But it was almost like it was meant for them to ask for a song so that this song could be made. Because maybe I don't make this song for this album, if not for them asking.
Hmm.
So maybe that was the catalyst for this song to get made.
Okay.
Excuse,
Yeah, because I think
sorry.
no problem. As we grow into things that haunted us or affected us or determine a lot of things in our lives, we do in order to survive and thrive, we need to adjust. So dietarily, you've adjusted. I know I've adjusted. I eat way better than I used to,
Yeah.
and but that kind of ties into and why I'm bringing it up now is the haunting thing of like knowing that you could make decisions that may be good in the moment, kind of like taking that 30,000, or you could eat better and realize as you're doing that, I do like this food. It does taste good. I do feel better as opposed to, man, I need to have these four cheeseburgers like I used to
Right
do,
now, I'm hungry. I want this right now. Yeah.
which is what
Yeah.
I did for a lot of my life because I like to eat. So that being said, how how do you discipline yourself or deal with the reality of I have to try to do this not just financially, but food wise, behavior wise, mentality. How have you learned to deal with that and apply that for so many facets of your life?
Man, it honestly came from just wanting to have a good quality of life as I got older. Yeah, I remember I was diagnosed over 20 years ago, so I was uh I was 30 something, 38 or I don't know. However old I was in 2000. Um so 36 maybe. However old I was, I was able to look down the road and say, okay, what do I want to be in 22 years? Do I want to be overweight, have MS, and then have high blood pressure, diabetes? Um, God knows what other autoimmune diseases would have come along if I kept eating the way I was eating. It wasn't a good trajectory, and so I just made. I mean, it wasn't an immediate decision in 2000, but I just gradually started to make changes, and I knew that if I could stay on the path of being committed to these changes and this lifestyle, that it would help me in the long run. And so thus far it has. Thus far it's been very positive outcome for me. I've been able to keep my weight down. I've been able to stay active. I'm still able to run around on stage and sweat and just have a good time. And God has blessed me with a good body that can still move, and I'm thankful for that. And so each night that I'm on that stage, I try to utilize that body to the fullest of its ability, and that's what I will continue to do. Um, but the diet, it all started with changing the diet, and it was a gradual and eventual process. But I just systematically cut out things from my diet little by little, saying, okay, like I remember the decision that I was not eating my wife's mac and cheese anymore. That was the day. I mean, I said I'm not going to eat
Then we know
dairy
you're
anymore.
serious.
Sheesh, listen, brother, that mac and cheese, yo. But I'm so far removed from it now. I'm probably, let's see, when did I stop eating cheese? Oh, it's been over 10 years. So I'm probably, man, maybe 15 years since I've tasted my wife's mac and cheese. And as good as it was, and I still remember it being good, but when I see it or smell it, I don't salivate. Like she still makes it. Like, but I don't smell it and I'm not like, oh my God, like just one bite. Like that's completely gone. It's completely removed. That trigger is gone. There was a time early on when I would smell it and be triggered, like, let me just get that one tablespoon. That's been eliminated completely, which I'm happy about. I don't have to fight those demons, you know. But that's just us training ourselves, training our minds and training our bodies to not crave the wrong stuff. It's really retraining your thinking and retraining your taste buds and retraining your body. And it's doable. I did it. I'm telling you, it's definitely doable.
And I think the thing that I've realized, because I haven't, when I wanted to be in the NBA, so at 14, I stopped drinking soda and eating chocolate because I was like, eh, I know those won't help me,
Right.
especially since I was overdoing both. But I very quickly I realized I didn't miss either one of them. And it's shocking that as I always am trying to refine and improve myself, and diet is a part of that, of course, that once I gave up drinking juice, for instance, I realized I didn't miss that. So it's just this constant thing of you'll surprise yourself when you try to do something to help yourself that it actually feels better, is better, and you can tell like pretty quickly that you really don't need it or crave it if you look at it from that lens. At least for me, that's how it works. So,
Exactly. Exactly.